I'm your tutor for English language with Blessing Oyabele. And our topic today is relative clauses and adverbial clauses. Relative clauses and adverbial clauses. Relative clauses are also called adjectival clauses. So our discussion is on relative clauses and adverbial clauses. Okay, so what are relative clauses? A relative clause is often used to give more information about a noun or a noun phrase. Relative clause is often used to give more information about a noun or a noun phrase. Now, a relative clause is also called an adjectival clause because it performs the same functions an adjective performs. What are the functions of an adjective? An adjective describes or qualifies a noun. Now look at the examples displayed on the screen. The boy who came here worked for the chief. In this sentence, we have the boy worked for the chief. That's the perfect sentence. The boy worked for the chief. But we need to know which boy. Now, an expression has been used to give more information about the boy. That is who came here. The expression is a relative clause. You will observe that this expression begins with a relative pronoun who. That's what makes it a relative clause. It performs the same function an adjective performs in a sentence, which is to describe a noun. Sentence 2 has the house which Hassan built. The house which Hassan bought is expensive. The house is expensive. But what kind of house? Or which house? They're referring to the one which Hassan built, which Hassan bought. And that is also a relative clause. The dog that barked at night was brave. The dog was brave. Fine. But what dog? The one that barked at night. In the sentences above, we notice that who came here, which Hassan bought, and that barked at night are all relative clauses modifying or describing particular nouns that appear before them. So these are relative clauses. Now, what are adverbial clauses? An adverbial clause is a clause that performs the same function as an adverb. But before we discuss what adverbial clauses are, it is important that we look at what adverbs are. Adverbs are words that modify verbs, they modify adjectives, and they modify other adverbs. For example, the girl ran quickly. The word quickly there is an adverb telling us how the girl ran. That's an adverb of manner. The man laughed horribly. Horribly there also tells us how the man laughed. They danced beautifully. Beautifully tells us how they danced. Now, all these words are adverbs. They are used to modify the verbs that have been used with them in the sentence. So, why do we call an expression or a clause an adverbial clause? It is because it performs the same function as an adverb. It is also possible that this adverbial clause does not contain any single word that falls within the category of adverbs. What do we mean by that? The words that are used or that form the adverbial clause, the words that form the adverbial clause could belong to other parts of speech except the adverb. Now, why do we say they form or they perform adverbial functions? It is because when they are used, they refer also to the verbs within the sentence. For example, he behaved as if he was rich. He behaved as if he was rich. As if he was rich tells us how he behaved. The word behaved there is a verb, and as if he was rich modifies the verb behaved. And that makes that expression an adverbial. So an adverbial clause is a subordinate clause that performs the function of an adverb in a sentence. They answer the questions how, when, where, why, and others. They modify verbs contained in the main clause or sentences. Look at sentence number 2. They slept when the light went off. When the light went off tells us what time or when they slept. And that expression is adverbial in nature because it modifies the verb slept. Bola sat where her father had shown her. Where her father had shown her is an adverbial clause telling us where Bola sat. That's an adverbial clause of place. The boys shouted because they saw a snake. Because they saw a snake tells us the reason for shouting, for the action word shouted. So we see that expression is an adverbial clause. So adverbial clauses are subordinate clauses that perform functions of adverbs in sentences. Now, based on the functions they perform, adverbial clauses can be classified into the following groups. We have adverbial clauses of time, adverbial clauses of place, adverbial clauses of manner, adverbial clauses of reason, adverbial clauses of purpose, adverbial clauses of result, adverbial clauses of condition, and of concession. Now, adverbial clauses are introduced by subordinate conjunctions. Just as we said that adjectival clauses are introduced by relative pronouns, adverbial clauses are also introduced by subordinate conjunctions. And each subordinate conjunction tells us what type of adverbial clause expression is. Let's go back a little and look at the examples that have been given. We have as if. As if is a subordinate conjunction and it introduces the adverbial clause of time, of manner rather. As if introduces the adverbial clause of manner. When the light went off, when introduces the adverbial clause of time. Look at example number 4. Because we saw a snake. Because is a subordinate conjunction and it introduces adverbial clauses of reason. Now let's look at examples of these subordinate conjunctions and how they are used. A few of them are found on the screen displayed before. We have so that, although, unless, while, when, before, whenever, as long as, after, though, as if, since, because, where, in order, that, than, as, whenever, if, until. Now, these are the subordinate conjunctions that introduce adverbial clauses. Remember that relative clauses are introduced by relative conjunctions and they perform adjectival functions, which is to modify or qualify nouns, while adverbial clauses are introduced by subordinate conjunctions and perform adverbial functions, which is to modify verbs. Now, an exercise is displayed on the screen for you. You are expected to give sentences containing the following. Give 3 sentences each containing the following. You can also do this exercise and submit to the WhatsApp number that is displayed on your screen. The exercise is that you give 3 sentences containing each of the following clauses. Number 1, we have adverbials of time. I expect you to give me sentences containing adverbials of time introduced by words like before, when, why, and then you do the rest. B, adjectival clauses, adverbials of manner, noun clauses as subject and clauses as object. Until I come your way again, I am your favorite tutor, Miss Blessing. Thank you.